Oh my gosh. Hi. Oh gosh. Okay. One, you talk now, Emily. Make sure I can hear you. I can't. You're fixing it. Emily's fixing the fact that I can't hear. Maybe you can. If you can hear in the comments, let us know. Charlotte says, "No, we can't hear you." Emily, let's see. Is it something I can do? You might have to do the whole thing. Nope. That's it.
Did you have me muted?
No, I didn't. I went and I would just make sure it wasn't on my side. I was like, muty.
Well, I did just change my microphone to this. So
well, now
let's just play with this for now.
Okay, we love it. Hi, everybody. Oh my gosh. Welcome to Improv On and Off the Topic with me, Shannon Stott, and you, Emily Arnold Fleming, and also you, the journeyer.
Welcome, journeyer. And I see Charlotte in the chat. Good to see you, Charlotte. Hooray. The gang is here, and we're talking about playfulness.
It's the best. This is the most playfulness that we've done in a long time because we have to be playful through all of these things. You remember when we were in Paris and we had to be playful through all the stuff that we went through there?
I remember when you were in Paris. Shannon's talking like I get to go to Europe.
It felt like we were all there.
Mm-hmm.
It did.
Yeah, I think, in general, when we're talking about playfulness, we have, on and off, our team does a really great job with really rolling with things and not taking things too seriously, and kind of seeing everything as a new fun challenge. Like even just now, like messing with our, sound isn't the end of the world serious business.
It's not. It's fine. You were talking just now. You said having a. Oh no! I'm sorry, Emily. I'm trying to get through it, but I can hear myself through you. So we're trying to get through an echo. Okay. You said. Not taking ourselves so seriously. That's what it was. Not taking ourselves so seriously. So the thing about that is today we're supposed to be talking about what it is like and how we can gamify life in general. You fixed it. Emily fixed it. However you fixed it, you did it.
I pushed the stop echoing button.
It's like, look, I love, Charlotte says, I was about to ask if y'all needed me to hop on and help y'all troubleshoot. Charlotte, thanks for being a proper journeyer, just ready to get in on whatever it is we're going through and figure it out. This is improv community at its finest, so thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Okay. While I was looking for the words, gamifying life. So, so when we think... I missed the rest of your question because I was finding the words and I can't word and listen. Let's talk about this game of getting through life while growing a human.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the question. Like, how do we when we're in strange positions or or uncomfortable, or even just having fun, or even waiting. Oh my God, how much waiting are you doing, Emily? So much waiting. But like, yeah, how do we gamify life as we're just sort of moving through it, and it's not the greatest, or it's boring, sometimes.
Yeah. I think there's I think first we kind of have to backtrack about like what it means to create a game, right? Uh and yeah, Charlotte says that there is an app that helps you gamify daily tasks. And so like to define the word gamify, right? We're thinking about kind of like a set of rules or a set of contingencies that are fun and have desirable outcomes that aren't necessarily functional in terms of like needing to survive, right?
Right.
Oh yeah, I've heard of this website. I've heard of it. It's very cool. Um, so like, because when you're playing, if you're doing a thing to like get food to survive, that's not a game. that that's serious business. But if
Mhm.
you are if you're doing a thing because of the enjoyment of it and you create your own kind of like rules about it to make something more enjoyable, even if it's just more enjoyable to get through it, then I
Mhm.
think that's how we would define like a game. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
yeah, and
No, I was going to let you go because you're still going to talk about growing a human being.
yeah, so with that and with that, kind of app that Charlotte was just saying, things that tend to gamify daily things, you think about your daily activities as like points or like objectives or like things to get to like the fun thing at the
Mhm.
end, or like you're leveling up your skills or something like that. um Growing a human, where there's a lot of waiting and a lot of like adjustment that I have to make to my life
Mhm.
and how I move around and how I interact with the world. um I think there are some like fun game things, right? Like some things where I can enter some information into like a little diary or like create like uh a little photo album or a little memory book based on like the things that are going on just for like fun, right?
Mhm.
Those aren't functionally necessary to survive. Um and every week I get farther along is super fun. I have I have this app. It's called 280 Days, and it's Japanese made, and it's Japanese made, and I say that because some of the like things are very culture specific.
Mm.
That don't necessarily translate to the US, which are very funny, and very interesting. But one of my favorite things is to like check that every week to see it has like a little cartoon fetus and it has like little sayings that he'll say to me when you like tap it. It'll say different things. Uh, and so there's like a fun little reward to getting like farther and farther and farther, more than just, you know, the functionality of growing a human and
Right.
surviving and me and him surviving.
Yeah. That's There is a certain feeling of stigma, I think, that comes with gamifying your life or putting fun up on top of what you or one does, right? I feel like the message that we get is, if you can't do this thing, we'll take sitting 8 hours a day in front of a computer typing. If you can't enjoy that as it is given to you, like if you're having a problem sitting down and doing that, that itself is a problem.
And it's
And
that's unrealistic. Like, who do you know? Who do you know who can genuinely sit there for 8 hours and do something? Like they're lying to you.
Listen, some journeyer out there, I'm sure can do it. But on the flip side of that, like let's take the journeyer out there who can sit for 8 hours a day and be typing. But on the other side of that coin is we are also expected to be able to go to a holiday party and sit with a glass of something in our hands and speak to people continuously with a smile on our face and enjoy that. And if you can't enjoy that, then you don't know how to do something right. It's
And
right.
again, like, and that's the thing, is that like both of those things are things that people can enjoy parts of, right?
Yeah. Yes,
Um,
there it is. Come on.
people who really can like sit and do something for 8 hours, it's it's not the crap they don't want to do that they're doing for 8 hours, right?
Mhm,
It's the
mhm,
crap that they are invested in emotionally, or they're excited about, right? Like
mhm,
I can play with spreadsheets for hours on end. I can play with we have like this new system that we're working on for on and off stuff. I can play with that forever.
mhm.
I can do a Lego set forever,
Right.
right? Um, but if you give me like, you know, a high school essay on a book that I hated, that's not.
Right.
And similarly with socializing, right? Like, yeah, it's great to hang out and be smiley and chatty if the environment is right and if there are people that you like and if it's a conversation you're interested in.
Mhm.
Because if I, you know, I think it's totally normal to go to a holiday party and sometimes just kind of like tune out and think about, you know, what level you are on in Candy Crush or like whatever, like something else for a second. And that's totally normal
Right.
and totally okay.
Yeah. Okay, so one of the pieces that jumped out at me, you said something when we're doing those things, or when we're watching someone like click away, or we're watching someone enjoy themselves at a holiday party, or whatever it is, you said the word invested. The thing is that they are invested in some part of that. And so I want to talk about put the on the stage part with that word invested, right? So when we're talking about being invested in a scene, because sometimes you find yourself in a scene and you're like, this scene is going zero places. It's like two people talking. Okay, okay. When now, what do we do? We haven't established where we are, who we are to each other, any of those things. And then it becomes okay. Well, if you're totally bored and you don't know where, who, or what you're doing, what can you do? And the answer is you can become invested in something when you're
Yeah.
listening when to the other person talk, when we become invested, oh, or just watching the other person move through the scene. Oh, okay, what is interesting to you? Even if like you're at that holiday party and you've tuned out because you're like, whew, I'm thinking about Candy Crush. In order to come back and try to be in that present moment, we've got to do the scanning of, okay, what is interesting to me here, if anything, right?
If
And
anything, and
then
like, is it worth it even being here?
yes, that was the next thing, right? Because even on stage, right? What if we are really in this moment and we're just like, I don't know what is going on. You can wipe a scene, you can step out and give a monologue. There are lots of things that you can do to ground yourself back into the scene. Also, you can say the words and scene.
Yeah. And we're done with this. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Right.
It's always an
These,
option.
and then a tad more on that is this is why improv in general, but specifically short form, really exists, right? We're gamifying. Really what we're gamifying is what? Relationships. We're just gamifying relationships and conversation.
Mhm.
um Two people, they're sitting there, what are they doing? They're having a conversation. Great, we could watch that all day, or we could watch them start with the next letter of the alphabet.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We put rules in place for fun. Like not because we need to, like we're not going to die if we don't do things in alphabetical order.
Mm-mm.
But because it's more mentally stimulating for probably more so I think some of the times people are more interested in short form is because it's more mentally stimulating to watch, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, I find short form to be more easily digestible by the general public because it's not just a free form scenes, with
Conversation,
rules.
you
Yeah,
know?
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and
exactly.
so I think finding the thing, and so, like, in the chat, Charlotte says that they find they find the pets at a party, if they need to stay at that party and, like, the people aren't interesting. Toby points out that, they have different kinds of tasks that they like. Trade off tasks and meetings for housework. I like
I
that.
love
That's
it.
funny.
I love it.
Uh,
I mean, these are the things, right? These are the ways that we can gamify. And I think when we talk about the benefits of that, of gamifying, one, it does keep you in the present moment, right? We can do this. One of the exercises we do, and I'm sure you've done this too, is last letter. You listen to the a conversation, whatever it is that somebody is saying, and before you respond, you hear the last letter that they stop talking with, and you start your sentence with that letter.
do you
Um,
ever do that in real life?
yeah.
Because I do.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I do. And it's because there's a couple things going on. Like, okay, I'm sitting in this conversation. Maybe I do or do not want to be there. It doesn't matter. But my brain is doing something out here. It's like I'm listening to the person, but it's like, my brain is not it's calculating how many dishes I have to wash when I get home. And then when I'm like, all right, we've got to be present. I can pull that game out, and they don't know I'm playing that game, but it brings us into the moment, and it makes our heart like, okay, I'm playing a game with myself. Let's see if we can focus in on what this person is saying.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I think when we create little games like that, um, part of it has to do with I always talk about like what's important in terms of activities, right? And so in that kind of game, what's important is that you're actually listening to the person
mhm,
and giving
mhm.
thoughtful responses and your brain isn't wandering. I've been in conversations where what's important wasn't necessarily what people were talking about, but just that I was physically present, right? And so my game would be something like counting, I think I remember very specifically counting ums and ahs in like a boring lecture in college, right?
Mm.
Like I have to be here. I don't know why. I was like, I'm not really interested in what we're talking about right now. And so like just to survive being here, I'm just gonna count ums and ahs.
Yep, it's good.
And so it's when we are creating our little games, I think that's part of it, is thinking about like the what's important in terms of this interaction, right? Um
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like some other things like doing chores. Toby gave the
Mhm,
example of doing chores, right? Uh Sometimes that can be gamified by like how fast can you do it, or
mhm.
how precise can you do it,
Right.
or just can you mentally give yourself like points for having like a cleaner dish than your spouse or something.
We those types of things, these games in general, they span the gamut, right? My Gus and Bryce have a game where when they're driving to school, they yes, they drive by a graveyard every morning, and they have like it's graveyard joke time, like, or scary joke time. And so, is that bad? Can we not say that? But like,
That's
they're
amazing.
looking for puns. But the idea, there's a couple of things going on there. One, the graveyard is about a minute or two away from the school, and it helps Bryce wake up. It helps him to get to a space where he's like awake. His brain is literally thinking about something, these types of things. And then, of course, the connection, right? Like, what is the connection? We do this every morning. This is the time that we're thinking of jokes and how those jokes came about. So that is, I love that thing. I love that for them. And then for me, so yeah, I am always, my thing is counting. I have found that whatever it is, if I am stressed about anything, if I am in a place, let's call it a doctor's office or a school or any sitting at traffic, like, ooh, how many fill in the blanks? How many trees are there? Tree, oh, a tree. It really brings awareness that type, and let's finish one thought and jump to the next. But it really brings awareness to where you are. It grounds you in the space that you are in when you gamify anything. The same thing, other than being exciting and fun to watch, gamifying scenes grounds us, right? We're talking, we're having a conversation, and it switches this part of our brain. It's like, okay, well, I have to do this thing, which is talking, but I also have to be listening for when the coach says switch, So if I have to switch into Emily's character, I really have to be present to look at Emily, listen to Emily. What is Emily saying? And then I have to also be present to this other outside stimuli that's telling me, oh, now it's time to become something different, right? We're training ourselves really to be here, present in the moment, focused on what is going on right in front of us in a different way. So our brains are clicking, puzzling out.
Yeah. I think that's precisely. I think that's true if anyone is still like, I don't know. I think that, but if you think about playing a game, like a literal video game or a sports game, what would happen if your brain drifted off into somewhere else? You have to be in the present, right? If you're playing rugby and you're thinking about tea time with your grandmother, then you're going to get smacked.
Dackled. You're going to get a concussion. Don't get a concussion thinking about your grandma.
And so when we're doing that in real life, it's just like your game of rugby where you are thinking about, your positions and your movement and you're living in. I don't know anything about rugby. I don't know why I chose that as an example.
In my head, I was like, cool, Emily watches rugby.
No, nothing except I'm just imagining people getting slammed while daydreaming. But if you think about that in like your typical conversation, and you just replace, the other players for your conversational partner, and you replace, the ball with the topic that you're talking about, or your conversation itself.
I agreed. There's a part of that that I wanted to get back to, looping back around to the stigma that is placed on gamifying things. And it's funny how when we get older, suddenly there's a strange, oh, well, you shouldn't be doing that. Oh, you're such and such years old and you're still doing such and such, reading graphic novels. I was like, I like my graphic novels. I really like them a lot, right? And what does this have to do with gaming? Oh, just the idea that gamifying things is equated in popular society. I feel American society is equated to somehow like slacking off or being childish. How about that? I know, Charlotte, they are amazing.
Well, so I'll tell you what, like having in my career worked with a variety of ages and doing a lot of like consultation and work with parents, there comes to be an age where the parents are like, they shouldn't get rewarded for doing chores. They should just do them. But like the reason you do the things, you do the things is because there's some sort of value placed on it, right?
There it is.
Even as an adult, right? Like I don't vacuum because I love vacuuming. Maybe some people do. I vacuum because I enjoy keeping a house clean for me and my family, right? That's the value that I place on it. And if you have never taught anyone to have like value in that thing for any reason, because you're not born with it. You're not born with being like, I want a clean house. Then you need to like build those things in. And sometimes they need like extra support, extra incentives to do things.
Yeah.
Those are baked into the task, which is what we're talking about with gamifying, or that there are outcomes, which can still be, if we're talking about gamifying, like earning points and like cashing them in. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Ooh, ooh, ooh. I have
yes,
a great
Shannon.
example. Thank you so much. Thank you. Sorry, everybody. When Bryce started school, right after the pandemic, he was having a hard time with just like, okay, how do I talk to people, right? Because everyone was having a hard time with how do I talk to people. Anyway, he really loves. At the time, he was into not Magic the Gathering, but role playing games in general, role playing games in general. And so on the way to school, we would task him with tasks that he had to do as far as, yeah, you're like, okay, you're going to go in there and your mission is to talk to 3 different people. And you just give them like a little question, ask them just their names. And then he would come back after school and tell us, I did it. These are the 3 names I learned. And out of that, we would make up a story, about how that roll of the dice got him this many points, and so now these are, and he really loved it. That was so fun for him, and it's like, yeah, we can do that in our own minds. We can really like, all right, I'm gonna sit through this dang diggity old whatever it is. I don't know what your cocktail party, your meeting, your whatnot, and reward myself, like mentally, sort of reward myself. Ooh, what is that game? I Spy, right? You can, okay, or bingo. All right, well, what's the bingo that I'm gonna play in this? I actually really love doing that one when I go to movies that I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to go to. I like all the movies we go to.
Listen, you've got a kid in your house. I understand.
Right? But the idea of like, okay, I'm playing mental bingo. I think I'm gonna see 2 rabbits, 1 alien, and 5 lines that have I don't know in it. Like what, and I get to play that. And it keeps me engaged. So anyway, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
It's that baked in incentive and stimulation to continue to do the thing, right?
mm-hmm.
Um, because if we're being honest about ourselves as humans, like sometimes we need a little bit of extra incentive, even though we care. Like you're at the movies because you care about your kid and your
Right.
family, right? Um, but to make it more enjoyable, we gotta add some layers to get through it, right? We shouldn't
Mm-hmm.
just be expected to enjoy a thing just because the outcome is important.
Ooh, we shouldn't be expected to enjoy a thing just because the outcome is important.
And that's where we get, going back to the things that we do for 8 hours, right? The typing on the computer for 8 hours
Mhm.
or being at a cocktail party or something like that, right? Um, you don't, even though like maybe it's important to you to sit down and be like, I have to knock out this essay. I got to do it.
Mhm.
Uh, it's important, for grades or whatever you got going on, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you should be expected to enjoy it. Uh,
Yeah,
and honestly, you put more into it if you find things to enjoy about it and little fun
about
games
it.
along the way. Same with a cocktail party, right?
Ooh.
Like, I have to go to this party because my spouse wants me to go. Doesn't mean I'm inherently going to enjoy it, but I want to find like fun ways to make myself enjoy it.
Emily, you drop, we're at like 29 just about, and you drop some good stuff. The 2 things that I really love are what you just said, as far as just because the outcome is important doesn't mean I have to enjoy it. And then the other thing is we shouldn't be expected. I think they're both the same, but this idea that you were talking about where parents say to their kids, well, they should just do the chore. They should just know that they need or like doing it.
Yeah.
Like
They don't need like
rewards.
extra awards for doing a chore. Yes, they do.
They
They
do.
are a
They do. We
child.
all do.
Yeah, we all do. Yours are just that you appreciate a clean house and
Right.
like you gotta
Yeah.
you gotta build that in.
Yeah. That's that. I feel like I want to emphasize the importance of it's okay to reward yourself. It's okay to gamify, to find the joy that is not inherent in the task. Period. It's okay to find the joy that is not inherent in the task.
I love
Create
that.
joy that is not inherent in the task.
I love that a lot.
Whew.
Speaking of things that bring joy,
Yes.
hey, we've got some stuff coming up this month, right? We have an on and off the show virtual live show this week,
Mm-hmm.
Thursday night at
8
uh,
Central.
at 8 Central, 9 Eastern.
Yes.
And that is going to be here on the YouTube. So
Yep.
come and join us, come hang out with us. We have a really cool guest who is just, I mean, listen, if y'all get to meet Yinka and you're going to love her. It's going to
Yeah,
be
you
great.
are. She is a professional. She's a professional event planner, and she is amazing. Just amazing at what she does. Amazing at creativity. Amazing at gathering people for purpose. And she doesn't do any improv, and so it'll be really great to see how she can use her event skills in an improv way. So come and join us for on and off the show.
And then we do have two more workshops this month. Shannon, you have an in-person workshop in Austin this upcoming Sunday, I believe.
Come
And
brunch.
yeah, come brunch with Shannon. And we have a virtual workshop coming up in the last week of the month. So if you go to our website, onandoffthestage.com, go to workshops, you can see our workshop options. And then finally, the very cool thing that Shannon and I literally talked about 40 minutes ago is what we're calling our journey chat. Starting in 2023, this is going to be a Patreon only event, so only for patrons. But for the next 2 months, for this month and next month, we are going to have an open chat in our Discord channel with anyone who wants to join us to talk about our topics, talk about how you are managing your topic in your life. Come on in and hang out with us. That's going to be on November 30th at, I believe, 7 Central.
Yes.
Yeah.
I put this down here because it's all here. Wherever you need to know, it's at this website.
All of our things are going to be there. So we're gonna have a good time. We're having a good time this month. I'm enjoying playing with you.
Playfulness is a good topic. Okay, friends, that is our show. We went through this show today, and I enjoy all the things that we do. So if you have questions for us, if you are excited, please let us know at On and Off the Stage. And if we don't see you on Discord or at a show, we will see you on and
off the stage. Goodbye.
Bye.